Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're customizing the Lampadati Komoda in Grand Theft Auto Online. The Komoda is an awesome car. I'm really looking forward to customizing this thing. Let's hop right in. Alright guys, so the engine, armor, brakes, transmission, turbo are already upgraded on this car, so we're going to be focusing on cosmetic things today. Starting off with the bumpers, we have front and rear options. We can add the primary extended splitter, the secondary extended splitter, carbon extended of course, the primary street, secondary and carbon as well, primary bolt-on, secondary bolt-on and carbon as well, and the primary bolt-on race splitter, secondary and carbon, and back to stock. So I think we're going to go for the carbon extended splitter. I personally like that one the best, I think. The rear bumper, we can do the stock bumper with fins, the carbon stock bumper with fins, the street bumper with fins, or the carbon street bumper with fins. Now, I personally don't like the look of the fins on this, so I'm not actually going to add anything to the rear of this car. For the exhaust though, we can go oval exhaust, dual rounded, split oval, or dual squared exhausts. I personally think the dual rounded exhaust looks the best, so we're going to go for that one. For the hood, we can add the secondary stock hood, carbon stock hood, primary street hood, secondary street hood, carbon street, of course, the primary twin vented hood, secondary and carbon as well, the primary middle intake, secondary and carbon as well, the primary intake vented hood, secondary and carbon, the primary high performance hood, secondary and carbon as well, or back to stock. I personally kind of like the look of the primary twin vented hood, so we're going to go for that one today. For the lights, we are going to go xenon, of course. For the livery, we have a few options. We can do the thick white racing stripe, the thick black racing stripe, the white Lampadati racing stripes. They add them on the side as well. We have the black Lampadati race stripes as well, Lampadati race, Redwood race, Lisa race, Prolapse race, Yogurishima, and Army camo, or back to none. I don't really want to put a livery on this car, to be honest. I don't think it looks that good, so we're just going to leave it off. The mirrors, we can do secondary colored or carbon. We're going to go carbon. Carbon is going to be probably a theme with this car, I think. We can add mud flaps to the thing as well if we want to. I don't really see why we would though, so we're just going to leave them off. For the plate, yellow on black, of course. For the respray, I don't know what color I want to do for this thing. Usually I would go with a red, but I feel like we should go with something maybe a little more out there today. Now, I have seen this car in real life. It's an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, and they do look pretty good in red. They look really good in yellow. But I feel like we could do something with a blue that would look pretty good, like Saxon blue maybe. Saxon blue is pretty good looking. Or maybe, I have to say, I saw this earlier. Bleached brown. I know it's not a popular color, and you might not like it at all. But I think we're actually going to go for bleached brown. The primary and the secondary. Now, I'm sure you guys are saying, my god, that looks ugly, please change it. But just hear me out. If it looks bad at the end of the customization, we will change it. For the roof, we can go for a secondary stock roof, carbon stock roof, primary roof with vortex fins, secondary and carbon as well, primary with the roof vent, secondary and carbon, primary vent with vortex fins, secondary and carbon as well. I think we're going to go for the carbon stock roof on this thing. I like the look of a carbon roof personally, so we're going to go for that. The skirts, we can add primary, secondary, or carbon. Primary street, secondary, or carbon as well. Primary racing, secondary, or carbon as well. Again, primary sport, secondary sport, carbon sport. Primary competition, secondary, and carbon as well. Primary ridged. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay. I think that we're probably going to go for the carbon street skirt. I like that look personally, so we're going to go for that. For the spoiler, we can add a primary small lip spoiler, secondary or carbon as well. Primary short lip spoiler, secondary and carbon. Primary extended lip spoiler, secondary and carbon. Primary bolt-on, secondary and carbon, of course. The primary ducktail, secondary and carbon. Primary bolt-on ducktail. Okay, and then we got the primary race spoiler, secondary and carbon as well. Primary GT, secondary and carbon, and back to none. I think we're just going to go for the carbon short lip spoiler, or maybe I think the carbon small lip spoiler. We're going to go for that. The suspension, we're going to drop this thing all the way down. For the wheels, I think We might go for some Cheetah Carbon Rs. I feel like they look pretty good on this thing, or maybe some Solars. I think the Solar actually looks a bit better. We're gonna go for that. The wheel color, we're gonna go black. The tires, they are bulletproof already. We could add custom tires, but it doesn't look that great. Next up, and last but not least, let's tint the windows all the way out. Now, you guys might not like the car in the bleached brown, but honestly, I do think that it looks pretty good. I think it's kind of sick. Let's take it down to the ground. We're gonna do a sound test and a review. Alright guys, so first order of business with this car is testing the sound, which I happen to know is pretty good. Take a listen. Probably pretty much the best sound file in the game that you can put on a car's exhaust other than the Sterling GT, so I'm gonna have to say the exhaust in this car, it's pretty much as good as it gets. I'm gonna say the exhaust in this car is a 10 out of 10. That is the first time we've ever had a 10 out of 10 on my scale in my car reviews, so congratulations to the Komoda. It's got a 10. Now off the line, not a whole lot of wheel spin. It grips up pretty quickly. This thing is rear wheel drive only, I believe, but let's actually just check that, of course. Yes, it is rear wheel drive only. Okay, cool. All right, let's get into the rest of this review here. Now this car actually does have pretty good acceleration. I do know that for a fact. This is actually one of my more favorite cars in Grand Theft Auto Online, but I promise you I'm not going to be biased. I will tell you, if a car is bad or not, whether I like it or not. So far so good on the acceleration. Nothing wrong with the acceleration, that's for sure. Now the handling on this car is pretty good as well, I must say. We're going to test it out further when we get up to the handling test here, but I can tell you it does handle pretty decently as well. So I'm thinking before we even get close to finishing the review, this is probably going to be the best car on the list so far. I've only customized like 4 cars, but I do think that this thing is going to be a highlight on the list, that's for sure. Now, I will say this thing does oversteer, but it's very, very controllable. And it doesn't oversteer to the point where like it's annoying. It just does it, if you're really, really sending it too hard, or, obviously if you tap the handbrake. But if you're doing that, you're trying to make it oversteer. So the car is extremely controllable. It's very well balanced, and it doesn't really understeer at all. So honestly, the Komoda is it's killing this review so far. I kind of have a score in mind already. We're gonna see when we get to the bottom of the handling test hill just exactly what the score is going to be. Now it does oversteer a little too much on occasion. It's not all the time, but it is enough to like maybe be a tiny bit annoying, but it's very easy to correct at the same time. So can't knock it too hard for it, but it definitely does have a bit of an oversteer thing. But like I have said in the past, I will take oversteer over understeer any day. So guys, I think that I'm going to say the handling on this car is a 9 out of 10, which I believe is the highest handling rating we've had so far in my new review system. So congratulations to the Komoda again. The acceleration I'm also going to say is a 9 out of 10. It could be, a little bit faster, but it could be a lot slower. So good on the Komoda again, I guess. So far we got a pretty decent score. Now overall, the customization on this car, there's not a whole lot you can do to it. So I'm going to say the customization is a 6 out of 10 overall. Could be, a few more things you could do to it, but it's not too bad actually. You know what? I'm gonna up that to a 7. There's a few more options than a 6 should have. So we're gonna go for a 7 on the customization scale. And for the overall look of the car, there are a few things that bother me. The rear wheels are in to the fender line a little bit too much, in my opinion. For the most part, it does look like the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. But there are a few things, like the front end of it is, it's pretty good looking, but it's not the greatest, I guess. So I'm gonna say the overall look of this thing, I'm gonna say 8.5, because it could be just a little bit better. Overall though, it's a great car. I would highly recommend picking it up if you guys don't have one in Grand Theft Auto Online. It's a great car, sounds amazing. Can't really go wrong with it, honestly. Anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the customization and the review today. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of my customization. Leave a like if you don't mind. It does always help out the channel. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.